care of our international municipal movement, delivering on the agenda of intermediary cities, delivering on the agenda of renewed leadership of women, on the feminist municipal movement. Now that Africa is doing that, let us ensure that Africa also makes sure that women lead the world municipal movement. I am counting on that. And I am counting on you to join us in our World Congress in Daejeon later this year in October. Because without the voice of Africa, we will not be able to push for the transformation that we know needs to happen. Without Africa, we will not be able to call for the new social contract that the world is asking for. Without Africa, we will not be able to shape a pact for the future, for our youth. As the mothers of migration, we have a responsibility to make a difference, to propose a new social contract, yes, within the framework of the Sustainable Development Goals, but bolder, more daring, acknowledging the kind of transformation that we know is possible if we embrace the agenda from the bottom up. We are working on that pact for the future at the world level, and we hope the contribution of Africa will be critical and will lead us to a good end. Africa is delivering for the international municipal movement. I hope that the world will also deliver for Africa and for its people. So thank you very, very much for giving me this opportunity, and I look forward to spending the rest of the day with you. Thank you.
Now is the turn of the Minister to come and address us, and then we'll go after this to the second stage of our proceeding this morning, which is the conversation between the head of state and the young elected official. Minister.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, former President of Mozambique, Joaquim Chissano, Your Excellency, the former President of Seychelles, DAY4, Your Excellency, the President of UCLGA and the Secretary General, Your Excellency, the Chairperson of REFELA, Excellencies, Governors present, ambassadors who are here representing their countries in this conference, my colleague ministers, who are also heads of delegations, and I want to recognize those who are here. I think I saw my colleague minister from Rwanda. Rwanda is present. Thank you very much for joining us today. I think we have a minister from Botswana. Is Botswana, I think they are around somewhere. We have the minister from Zambia, who was heading the delegation. The Kingdom of Swatini, I think, who are represented also. I just want to welcome all of you who are here today. And in a very special way, thank the former presidents for being here with us today. President Chissano, we want to say Asante Sana, de Bricado. President DAY4, we want to say merci beaucoup. Thank you very much for making time to be here with us today. And this is a very interesting session that we are looking forward to drink from your cup of wisdom as we hear the young people of Africa engage you and get to know you better, and also look at the future of Africa together. We also want to thank all those who have contributed in these last 3 days in the ongoing conversation of the role of intermediary cities in shaping the future of Africa. We have just 1 day to go tomorrow, but we want to encourage you not to go back so fast. We want you to stay a little longer. It's really been a pleasure and an honor to host you here with my friend Professor Peter Nyamyo, and we hope you'll stay a little longer to enjoy Kisumu more, to also interact, share experiences, and also network. As I leave Kisumu, I live with new friends across Africa. I must say I met a new friend who is the mayor of Livingstone in Zambia. I'm looking forward when I go to Zambia next time. I'll not only go to Lusaka, where I've been. I intend to go to Livingstone next time. I also met a friend from Egypt, and I can boast of knowing the governor of the Giza Governorate of Egypt. So next time I go, I will not just be visiting Cairo. I intend to visit her. And she happens to be a woman, I think, where Africa is going places. And we are very, very happy also that the UCLGA leadership has been taken over by very strong, able women that we'll be hearing shortly. May I say congratulations to them and wish you well. And now give the floor to the next session where we want to hear more from our presidents. Thank you very much and do enjoy your day.
Excellencies, I'm just informed that the Prime Minister of Gabon is on her way, and of course will allow me, if she comes, to address us as well. But since time is not on our side, I will propose that we have this conversation between the young people and the head of state. What I'm going to do is painful for me, is that this first row, you move on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4. You move on the other side. And I would like that people in charge remove these chairs. People in charge, remove these 4 chairs. You don't move. People, can I have, remove these 4 chairs. Because we want a conversation between the young elected officials and the head of state. Mr. President, we prepared and we work with the young people to know what do they want to table as a question. And we'll be responding to them. I collected this question. And there are 5 questions. The first one, they say they are committed to local government. They are committed to local politics. But they also say many of their colleagues at the same age are perplexed to see them engaging into politics. And many think that they are losing their time into politics. But they say that since all the countries have adopted implementation of decentralization, and that this is confirmed at the highest level in our continent, all the institutional framework for decentralization says, give the power commensurate to the revenues. But what we continue to experience is that in their own experience, revenues stay at the national level. Problems are transferred to the local level. In your experience, why is it the case? And what should be done to ensure that decentralization policy is implemented in accordance with the legal requirement to provide local authorities with resources that are commensurate with the responsibility allocated to them. Can you give a comment or a short answer on this?
Thank you very much. Yesterday, during the dinner, that the governor of Kisumu offered us, I had the opportunity to thank President Uhuru Kenyatta for having invited me to Kenya, and the Africities having invited me to attend this conference. I accepted to come because I thought it's a long time that I don't have contact with Africities, and I don't know what these developments are going on. So I'm very happy to find this big conference with so many participants from all over Africa. It shows that the Africities which I knew when there were some problems, and that's why I came into contact with Africities was because of problems which were tolling the march of the Africities. Now I see the movement is going with a big acceleration, and one of the signs is that we see women now becoming really more equal to men in this movement. As for the question raised, I would say that first of all, it would be important. It would be important for the local governments and the cities to try their best to engage a dialogue between the states and themselves. And I think that they can utilize their associations of municipalities or of whatever the way you are organized in each country. But those associations could be used to cause this permanent dialogue in order to solve the problems you have. Let me reflect that what happened when in Mozambique we were urged to decentralize the power, because our system was very much centralized. Everything was decided from the center in Maputo. And the reason for that is that we didn't have the resources to decentralize. Also, we did not know how to work in a decentralized system. We were just coming from the liberation movement. We started creating some sort of state in the liberated areas. And this is the only way of government which we had. When we come to Maputo, we don't have where to copy from, because our aim was to do away with all the colonial mentality and to create something new, create a new mentality, so that we may bring development. First of all, development of people. The human development was of utmost interest. So we didn't have civil servants, let alone leaders, to lead a decentralized system, to have in each municipality what is required, let alone the material side also was a problem. But we, in exchange with different countries who do nothing else but decentralization, we came to understand some of the advantages of decentralization. And we started doing, we had what we call the priority districts, where we concentrated development, because they had conditions, climatic, the soil, accessibility, and so on. We said, let us develop those first. And they were selected for that matter. So we said, no, for decentralization, we almost follow the same criteria. Go first where it's possible. Because we understood by decentralization to give more power to the people where they live, to give them power when they are capable of showing capacity to organize themselves, a capacity of developing the resources which they have. It was a big discussion. It's what comes first. It's a decentralized government, a local government, which will by itself generate development, or we need to create through central structures the minimum of capacity in those regions. How to start? In Mozambique we have province, district, administrative post, and locality. How do we proceed? Try and bring capacity to the province, or go to the last level and create capacity there. This was a big discussion. But then we were working in a time that decentralization was a fashionable discussion in the world. So we contacted countries like Brazil, and the Brazilians have a system. What we call district, they call municipality. We could not understand each other. For us, municipality was a place where you had enough people living there together, capable of developing some activities, economic activity, and not just a territory. So they were saying that the district should be our municipality. It would be the basis of decentralization. We said no, we'll go to the people's agglomerations. That's where we are going to do. So that's why we came to the towns and to the cities. We started creating capacity builds. And so we created the municipalities by phases. We gave autonomy by phases. So it's a progressive movement. I don't know how many municipalities are there now today, but they are here, I can tell you, because of I'm not following. But we moved, in my opinion, faster than I thought. Because parallel to this, we were preparing our youth in schools. We had more universities. When I went to power as president in 1986, we had only a few universities, maybe. We had, actually, it was one university. And then a university, a private university, and then another private university. And today we have more than 40 universities. So youth was prepared, and today we have possibility of decentralizing much faster because we have the manpower, we have the brains. So my advice is that part of resources is something which has to be developed by this youth. So you, as young and new in your posts, you have that responsibility of mobilizing the resources which you have locally, and then liaise with the central government to see how much they can help you with this. First, you take the responsibility that we decentralize because you have to develop your So you have to design with the government how to proceed so that you have the resources which you require, not just sitting there and say that it's the responsibility of the government to give us money. You are taking the responsibility to rule yourselves where you are, and with the help of someone, including partners. You can go and find some partners outside. In fact, to help the central government, because what you are going to do to develop your areas will help also the central government. I think I can stop here.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Very short reaction. No, I think what is important is how do respective countries implement what we ratified in 2014 in Equatorial Guinea, and these are the principles of decentralization and local government in Malabo. We just need to understand the two things, the idiosyncrasy of these countries and specificities. We take the example of Seychelles, a population less than 100,000. So if, for example, in Kenya, their constitution and their rules, they say, for you to establish a county of 1 million, do you think we are going to establish a county when we have 100,000 and 1 million? So we have 100,000. But the beauty of this is that well ahead of Malabo in 2014, in 1993 we started the journey of decentralization. We created local government across our land. And over time, we have a mayor. And the mayor of Victoria is here, I see David. In fact, David is the one who sings, and everybody is listening. And today, Secretary General Jean-Pierre has said that we need to have young people. And I'm proud to say that amongst our delegation, we have a young person of the age of only 28 years old. Can you stand up, please? So the young people have a voice, they participate. The Constitution is very clear to say if you want to represent yourself, you need to be 18 and above. So the whole system is geared towards empowering the young people to take responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you, President. I'll follow up on you. The second question is about climate change. We know that small islands are very concerned about this climate change, and Africa as a whole. The issue is climate change is here to stay. Adaptation to climate change is a must. But so far, the consequences of climate change are on the local government mainly. And in the discussion, the local government are not sitting at the table. And the COP27 in Egypt is around the corner. What recommendation can you make for local government to be invited to sit at the table? Because adaptation is mainly a local issue. What can you recommend?
Well, I think what is important is, and I think everybody repeats that, but I think we just need to be more sincere about what is happening. We say that climate change is this threat to our own existential, meaning our existence here. And I will go back to the structure of population and local government. It is important that we have at the table representatives of intermediary cities and local government. And this is a very strong recommendation. Now, if we are preparing ourselves for COP27 in Egypt, it's important that united cities and governments, you fight, and we will support you, so that we have at the table representatives from local government. Now, the second issue is adaptation. But apart from adaptation, we need to focus our own energy on the concept of loss and damage. So we need to press that loss and damage as a facility is created. Because since 2016 in Glasgow, where there has been a pledge for us to have this facility, we need to ensure that in real terms, the facility is approved so that nations having difficulties being faced by climate change can benefit from this new facility of loss and damage. Now, as we talk about the third issue of adaptation, I think adaptation is extremely important. We need to be talking about what is called the global goal for adaptation, that our negotiators, and I think you all know the structure, each country provides a negotiator around the table, so Africa also wants to talk with one voice, and we are seriously pushing for us to have the adaptation structures and strategies in place. Thank you.
Is it working? More effective. I would like to remind you about the consequences of climate change in Mozambique in the recent years. Actually, with all the cyclones which affected also the countries from the hinterland, like Malawi and Zimbabwe. I think that you as new leaders, you should pay attention to the use of the resources, like woods, forests, and the way the constructions are done in towns or cities. Because you find that during these hurricanes and so on, you have floods in towns. Town of Beira, town of Maputo, and you ask why? It's because there are areas which are overpopulated and the construction is not planned, and so erosion is there in the slums. So it's you have to foresee all these things that they may happen. So you have to prepare for the worst scenarios. Worst scenarios, because you never know. And these things happen differently each year. It's not all the same time, the same way. The wind comes and blows with more speed, breaks everything, even those constructions which we thought that were well constructed. Bridges go this year. Lots of bridges were out, and so the engineers have to think. So you have to think now for worst scenarios. If you want agriculture to go ahead, how do you make agriculture, how the land is distributed, and so a coordination with all the institutions of government. Legislation must be revised. In the first question also, you have to look at the legislation. If the legislation can force the central authorities to give you more help. But I repeat, they should not be the first thing which you wait for, because the central government has to have means for all the information. You have to have means. Let us work together, including the private sector. Including the private sector have to be involved. I just wanted to have this energy, new alternatives of energy have to be found. So if you can stop cutting off wood, use of charcoal, then we'll have more voice in front of the developed world, because they are polluting our atmosphere and we are paying for that. So if we take our precautions, we can show them always that, look, we are doing efforts already, but you did not compensate us enough. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have to recognize the presence of the Prime Minister of Gabon, Madame Rose Christian Osuka-Okunda, and also to recognize the presence in the room of the Minister of Environment of Gabon, Mr. White, the Minister of Land from Tanzania, Dr. Angel Mabula. So, let us go to the third question. And this is about the Africa we want. We have just established at the continental level the African Continental Free Trade Act.
Oh, sorry.
And
Just
yes.
I don't hear what you're saying.
You want a pen?
I don't hear what
I was just introducing the framework of the question that Africa has just implemented the African Continental Free Trade Area. But in this conversation, the missing link seems here also to be the local level. Because we know that any activities, any economic activity land on a local level. And the local level is the place where you should provide for amenities that will help grow business. This is why the young people say, why don't you devise a program for upgrading the infrastructure and equipment in local government, including intermediary cities, within a Pan-African framework, as was the case with the Nepal major infrastructure. What do you think of this proposal? Mr. President?
Well, that is a good proposal. But I would like to say that this comparison with the Nepal, I would like to recall that Nepal is an agency of the African Union. At the beginning, there was a lot of controversy because some thought that Nepal was a new institution by itself. I happened to be in that group of heads of state who were monitoring Nepal at the beginning. And one of the first things we had to define was why it was called the New Partnership Initiative. And we came to the conclusion that it was new because we were envisaging a new way of doing things by giving the responsibilities of development to our own governments and to do away with the mentality that others are going to give us resources in order to develop. So we have to find ways of creating resources ourselves first and then go to the others while saying we have succeeded to get so much. We would like you to help us with the other part so that we implement this program and not just wait for the others. It took time. Now I'm happy because it happened after I left power that Nepal now is considered fully an agency of the African Union. And in my opinion, and in my hand actually, we have chosen the district as the core, the base of development. That we absolutely define. The district is the core, the focus of development. So the planning should start there. But maybe as we have this centralized, it may be in some cases that the port is not the district or the county, maybe it's something lower. So we have to go there because the aim is to have the people to participate in the definition of what they want to do, because this is development for the people by the people. That's what we need. And so, again, it links with my first answer. Don't wait, engage. Engage all institutions, your government, but even the African Union. You are an instrument to deal with specific problems. I spoke about some of them, the erosion, the floods in towns, the conservation of historical places, and the industrial areas with you, the pollution, you name it. It starts there in a given place, concretely. Now, I spoke about the young people who are trained now, who have knowledge and so on. We want for them to bring what they learned in school into practice. So you have to have these ministers who are there for a long time to think. Fortunately, also we have now new ministers who have learned, and it may facilitate the discussion. But it's necessary that we look ourselves as the pole of development.
No, I think the recommendation of our young people on the continent makes sense, taking into consideration the demographic of our continent. We have a young population, and we need to back this by solid schemes and programs to support the future. I think they are right. We need to support them. Thank you.
Thank you. My fourth question is also Mr. Your colleague Alpha Mong'are, former president of Mali, say that we need to change the borders of African states inherited from colonization, from breaking points to, and to do that, he continued. Local government and cross-border decentralized cooperation are a key mechanism that need to be implemented at the level of regional economic communities and at the level of world continent. What do you think of the proposal to a tool for African integration, and what modalities should be put in place to raise it to the level of a policy and strategy of the African Union?
No, I think it is all matters of the institutional framework that we have within the African Union, and how each country, based on their own specificity, they advance the agenda of this one common market that we want to create. And if we really put in place and implement what we ratified in 2014 as states, we will be moving towards this dream of having one single market. And if we really devolve the power from the center, we decentralize, We ensure that our local governments and cities are more effective, and we put systems in place whereby goods and services, the movement of goods and services, the delivery system is effective, and the population are satisfied with what is being served and what they see. I think we will get there. But it's a question of also the capacity building which is required, the leadership across all levels that are needed, especially within the women, among the women, and also young people on our continent. But nobody can stop this wave of market exchange of goods and services on the continent. I have seen it recently when I was visiting Botswana, and what they were able to build, the connectivity between Namibia, Zimbabwe, and of course Botswana itself. In my visit here in Kenya, we can also witness the way devolution has taken place over a rapidly very short period of time, 10 years, and the immense contribution that this has meant for the neighbors here in the population. So I think it's a question of really keeping the focus, maintaining the agenda, and pushing it forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
At this level of the local governments, I think that it's more important for those local governments which are on the border with the neighbor countries. We have in Mozambique a very long border with different countries, Eswatini, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Malawi, and Tanzania. And the sea, even with the Seychelles, we have some proximity. There's one or two islands which are closer to Mozambique than the capital of Seychelles. And we have with Madagascar. But there's a very, very, very weak interaction to discuss this issue among the states. For instance, if you look at the relation between Mozambique and Madagascar, you cannot believe that it's only 400 kilometers to cross the ocean to the other side. And we have the same fish, we have the same canal, we have the same hurricanes, cyclones, but yet we seem to be very far from each other. You go to Zimbabwe and the other countries which are mentioned inland. There are cases of surplus in crops in one country, and they want to go and sell in the other country, and you find that the police will be there and feeding them to cross to the other country. Lots of demands and so on, this and that. One day I was on a visit in one of the provinces, bordering with, it was in that case, it was Malawi. And there were lines and lines of people with bicycles, carrying each one 100 kilos of maize, because we had a surplus of maize, to go and sell in Malawi, that they were in need. And I found that the customs there were creating problems. I went personally and said, open the gate, let them pass. And they started selling. And when they were coming from Malawi, they were coming from goods. will come with goods which they bought there. So it was a good interaction. And now it's very often being practiced, almost a free trade in the border areas. Of course, one has to take care to tell the people that they have a surplus today, they have not to sell all what they have. Because we have been speaking about climate change, you don't know what will happen up to the end of the year and the next year. So you have to save some. And so this would be also a role of the leaders to see to it that there's a reserve of food, but not to close this interchange at the border. But I would like to remind that it's our role to build this huge building, which we said we are going to build block by block. And we created this economic regional. But the aim is integration. And as I said, integration without the people is not integration. The people should be the base of the integration. Now I am involved with a movement of protection of ecosystem and particularly of wildlife. And we are working with the transfrontier parks. I'm in this, which is called Peace Park Foundation. And we are doing a work which really reflects it's reflected in the improvement of conditions of life of the people living close to the animals we are trying to save, and we have their cooperation. And the cooperation has to come from the two sides or the three sides. We have one of the transfrontier parts which comprises three countries, South Africa, Mozambique, and Zimbabwe. So the three people around there have to cooperate at the border. But this is not to end there, out there. It has to be felt by the whole country, not only at the border. What we do at the border has got reflex because of tourism. Tourism is bringing money, and the money has to serve the whole country. So let's say a big responsibility that the building blocks cannot exclude the local governments or the cities.
May I the fifth question and the last one? And this was very controversial. The COVID-19 health crisis has exposed the overdependence of our countries from the globalized economy, including for the needs, daily needs. What do you think we should be doing to master better our self-reliance? Because there is a saying in Africa that states that all that happened to me is my fault. What can you advise the local government to do and the young local elected to do to have a better confidence in the future of this continent? When we see many young people dying across the Mediterranean across Mediterranean, because they think they have no future on the continent. In the light of your knowledge of how this world works today and how it might evolve, what argument can you put forward to reverse this trend of the young people feeling that they have no future for this country?
I can come back to my first answer, the question of mentality. We have to develop the mentality that we are capable. We should repeat this. I am capable. We are capable. We cannot always depend on what we call the developed countries. Particularly our ex-colonizers. They are not in a hurry in seeing us to be equal to them. The COVID has taught them a lesson. They think more about equality now, because we're about to sink in the same boat. It's a good opportunity to develop our capacities, at least to know what we want. We are saying the Africa we want, the agenda, but we have to be more specific. What do we want? They will come then, they say, well, the Chinese, they have to cheat the Africans and so on. We will have this discourse. I'm saying the Chinese have got their own agenda. They know what they want, but they are good people. Because if you know what you want, they will not impose on you. So you have to tell them what you want. So the important is not your studies, your research, not to be put in what you call cupboards, or in your working tables, but have to come out. You have to exchange among yourselves, and as we are doing here, I think it's a good thing. So we have to do these exchanges in a very concrete manner, including in how we negotiate with our partners, what we demand from them. When NEPAD was created, I said it also earlier, the aim was for us to be ourselves and try to find the solution by ourselves. But yet there were many of us who were always blaming the G10, G7, the G120, and not blaming ourselves. We go to a meeting and it was all the blame of the outsiders. I think we have to change, say what we have done to mobilize our own resources, including human resources, because we can help each other, have similar ideas. So there's an interest.
Thank you.
Yeah, quick one here. I think COVID-19 has exposed our weaknesses in terms of our health systems across the continent. So one of the solutions here would be to really fix the system, ensure that we have the right systems in place. This is number one. The second local government. The third one is that we have a problem on the continent where water and sanitation is concerned. So we have to step up the level of investment in water and sanitation so as to prevent these problems in the next couple of years. When we were hit by COVID in Seychelles, I picked the phone and I spoke to President Kenyatta, and I asked him whether we can have some of his nurses to come and help Seychelles, because I was afraid that we would have a serious problem where the health system was concerned. So he told me, no problem, Danny, I will send it. So we went through the whole system, and there was a very quick system. So we had the support from Kenya. And it all shows that we have to build these systems in place. It's only now that in South Africa and Senegal that we are now moving towards the manufacturing of vaccines. It's only now. So in terms of our continent, we need to be looking and redesigning the systems. And I want to strongly recommend that WHO has a more serious work to be done within the continent. And we support local government and cities having the necessary capacity building so as to be in a level of preparedness when we are hit by any catastrophe of that magnitude in the next couple of years. God bless, God pray that we don't have them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This brings us to the end of interaction with former head of state and young people. I hope the young people have captured clearly the message. We count on you. Be self-reliant. Believe in you. Believe in Africa. You are Africa. Now the last segment of this morning is about awarding honorary membership of UCIT to all those who have served the cause of local Africa. Can we put the video presenting these people? all the people he invited here in front of you, facing the public, including you, Madam Mandi. Here, this way. You line up here. And I will invite Your Excellency to come and give the medals and the diplomas to the. So please, let them know. So you go down there, you pick.
first time in the Africities, and we are more than happy to participate in Kisumu, and thanks the organization, because for us it's a great experience and opportunity just to meet a lot of people from many places in Africa. First time in Kenya.
Zaidi pale ndio huko live. là đi.
What are your expectations in this gathering today?
Yeah, I'm the Minister of Environment, Forests, Oceans in Gabon. But in Gabon, almost 90% of our population live in urban environments. And so the urban environment in this modern world and how the urban environment needs to be managed to deal with climate change and so on is critical to the lives of many, many people around the world and many people in Africa. So you know, it's really great to be here to see how the mayors are talking about the environment, about climate, and how we adapt our urban environment to this modern world where climate is changing and it's getting warmer and so on. And so you see there's energy in the room. These are our local people who've been elected locally and who are really on the front line when it comes to the conditions in which people live.
Thank you so much. Now, as a leader, do you feel the intermediary cities are ready for the talk of climate change? Do you feel they're ready to take climate change to the next level?
I don't think we're ready. I think we're getting ready. There's so much to do. We have to think about how we make our cities greener. We have to plant trees because the trees will absorb the additional heat that we're going to be feeling in the coming years. Trees are sort of the air conditioners of nature. We have to change the way we build. We have to build more ecologically. We have to build more with wood. And so I think this is the forum where we start talking about that, but then we really have to put in place policies that are going to revolutionize the way we build cities and the way we live in cities.
Thank you so much. Now, what would you recommend? What are your two recommendations?
Okay, I'm going to have to go, I'm afraid.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You can use whatever YouTube.
Okay, thank you so much.
We are waiting to interview the Prime Minister of Gabon and get a declaration from her if possible.
Could you go next to the Prime Minister of
You just go, no? Après, là, il faut qu'on enregistre. Tu vas te rappeler. C'est quoi? Salut ou pas?
C'est là le salut justement, je veux croire, de l'Afrique. Et je suis fier, je te dis, cette reconnaissance non seulement à mon pays, le Gabon, mais également au président de la République qui m'a permis justement d'être là aujourd'hui. Et je dédie également cette reconnaissance à tous les maires d'Afrique, et particulièrement aux femmes mères, parce que ce sont des femmes qui sont très dynamiques. Les hommes, excusez-moi, mais c'est la réalité, parce que les femmes, elles sont dynamiques, elles sont déterminées, et quand elles veulent justement atteindre l'objectif, elles atteignent cet objectif-là. Et merci beaucoup au CGLUA, merci à l'Afrique, et merci à tous les élus locaux d'Afrique.
Merci. Une question. Quelle est votre déclaration après avoir été ici au sommet, le 9e sommet Africities?
En fait, je tiens d'abord à remercier les autorités kenyanes qui m'ont fait l'honneur d'être là aujourd'hui et les organisateurs des Africités. Pour rappel, j'ai été maire de la capitale du Gabon qui est Libreville. J'ai été au cœur même des actions qui sont menées dans le cadre de CGLUA. Et en 2018, j'ai été élu président du CGLUA. Je n'ai pas pu remplir ma mission dans la mesure où le chef de l'État m'a envoyé au gouvernement en qualité de ministre de la Défense nationale. Et ce sont les maires qui m'ont succédé, dont Christine, le maire de la commune de Libreville actuelle, qui a terminé le mandat de président du CGLUA. D'où ma présence ici. Et le travail colossal que nous avons fait, il ne s'agit pas d'un travail uniquement fait par ma modeste personne. Nous sommes un groupe de maires. Je peux citer M. Khalifa Sall, l'ancien maire de Dakar. Je peux citer Adama, le maire de Bamako. Je peux citer Fatimetou, qui a été élu hier président du CGLUA. Je peux citer Célestine Ketia-Cortez, qui est aujourd'hui ministre du urbanisme. Elle était maire de Bangaté au niveau du Cameroun. Je peux citer Faisancho, qui est vice-gouverneur d'Abidjan. Je peux citer Mong'are, le gouverneur même du district d'Abidjan. Je peux citer Émile Gros Makongo, qui est le maire de Bangui. Je peux les citer, je peux les citer Sadiki du Maroc, Boudra, qui était l'ancien président du CGLUA. Ils sont nombreux, mes compagnons justement, dans le mouvement local, qui avons monté justement l'aura de cet organe, parce que nous savions que le mouvement local international est la clé justement de l'éclosion totale de l'Afrique.
Merci beaucoup.
Oh yeah?
Did you get the question?
I got the sound.
You got the sound?
Yeah.
So ask for...
It's by my cat. You know. Who is
Yeah.
Minister of Environment in Gabon.
That Kisumu.
Yes.
Then is the Prime Minister.
Prime Minister.
Hapo hayuko na mimi hapa. Session imeisha, watu wanaenda kwa zinaitwa rooms and other tents for other sessions. Other sessions before they break for lunch, kuna sessions zingine kwa other halls. We are going with the power to one of the sessions. Na tutakuwa I thought we should charge the bat tutumie hii kamera ile ingine. As we charge the bat for this one. Papa.
Sawa, kabura huyo kasa magona. Sasa hapa.
What does it take for you to interview my company?
It takes your presence.
It takes my presence?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm now setting up my booth.
Where is your booth?
It's inside, this one.
Okay, before we go to your booth, can you give us your opinion on the dialogue that we have just...
No problem. My boss is in there. You do all that. My boss was here, so he's here now. Oh. So since my boss is here, I can't talk. I need to allow my boss to talk first.
Your booth is from...
Zoom Lion, Ghana.
Ghana.
From Ghana. Okay. We are going somewhere now.
No, we are just coming. It is on which tent?
Around the Cameroon place. So it's before you go to
Oh, you are live.